Who is Miss Delight? A kind teacher who taught orphans at the orphanage school, or a mentally ill woman who is driven only by the desire for revenge and murder? I think many of you have already met this character in the 3rd chapter of Poppy Playtime, and you have definitely wondered who she is and what really happened to her. And if you're here, I'm sure you'll get answers to absolutely all of your questions. Hello everyone! At first it might seem that Miss Delight is just another Playtime monster like all the others, but I'm sure that after watching this video, we will change our opinion about this girl 180 degrees. Let's continue with our hilariously interesting video. Let's agree that we will start our story about this character from the very beginning of her life in the orphanage until her last breath in the 3rd chapter. Or maybe it's all a lie and Miss Delight really did survive and you'll meet her in the future? At the time of this project, a casting call was held for the role of a teacher who had to be friendly, and it was very important that she could get along with the children. And after the necessary candidates were selected, they were all turned into puppets, and we see one of them in the 3rd chapter. But to get the full picture, we need a little backstory. After being turned into dolls, Miss Delight and her sisters, who are said to be about 8 years old, taught the children and all was well until the so-called Joy Hour. The Joy Hour was a big event that took place at the Playtime cover factory on August 8, 1995. Many things happened that day, but we are most interested in this fragment where Miss Delight and her sisters are chasing one of the employees. We will tell you about the events after this incident right after a little bit about the appearance of our lovely girl, so that in case you recognize her at night, and if it happens, you better look closely into her eyes and back away slowly. Miss Delight has golden lacquered hair and a crimson ribbon on her head. She wears a tattered crimson polka dot skirt, a torn acid-colored short-sleeved lantern shirt with a white collar, and a blue apron with an apple picture and a torn right strap. Her once wide smile is now completely distorted, exposing flesh and teeth. We will talk more about her smile, for it holds many mysteries and secrets. As I said, before the Joy Hour, Miss Delight and the others were quietly teaching children who were innocent. But apparently our doll was the first to be influenced, and together with the other monsters, she started a massacre in Playtime Co. However, after happy hour, she and her sisters were locked up in the school. Supposedly, they were all locked in there by catnap, and when they were left all alone, that's when things got interesting. Of course, as time went on, there wasn't enough food for everyone, and her sisters decided to deprive her of food, which was the first call to Miss Delight's madness. Every day, her hunger became stronger and stronger, and at the same time, her anger at the other sisters only increased. And at the critical moment, our Miss Delight decided that the only way to survive would be to kill all her sisters and then eat each of them. Which eventually happens because out of their entire cast, we see only one insanely angry and hungry doll. The fact that her main trigger was hunger is reflected in the 3rd chapter, because even in deep sleep, her driving force is hunger. While locked up, Miss Delight felt the presence of some creature. 99% of the time it was catnap, and it was his presence that compelled her to create her favorite Barb. Barb is her own unique weapon that was created out of pencils, rope, and most likely some kind of plazoline or chewing gum. Well, let's say she has a weapon, because in this environment it's normal. But if you find out that she, for the time in loneliness and hunger, began to consider Barb a real person and almost not his friend, how would you feel about it? I think that at least gives us a sense of how seriously mentally ill Miss Delight is. And it was Barb who caused what happened between Miss Delight and her sisters. At the critical moment when the other sisters locked the door to the kitchen from our Miss Delight, it was Barb who encouraged her and told her that she had to kill everyone else to survive. And since then, Miss Delight and Barb have been the most loyal of partners. But how exactly did she kill all the other sister teachers? The answer to that question is revealed in the 3rd chapter of Poppy Playtime. I think many of you have noticed that as soon as we look at her, she immediately becomes motionless and does not make any movements. But as soon as we take our eyes off of Miss Delight, she immediately tries to move closer to us. There is a possibility that she thinks that if she stops moving, then everyone will consider her dead and no one will approach her. And as soon as they turn away, they will meet our Miss Delight one-on-one and her mysterious Barb will help her to kill the others. Perhaps that's how she killed one sister after another in the hope that no one would notice she was missing. But you have to admit that it would be weird if there were 8-9 of you, and after a while, there were only 4. I think in that case, the other sisters would realize who is responsible for their disappearance, and would immediately kill Miss Delight. So I'm more inclined to the version that she pretended to be motionless to make everyone think she was dead, and then she killed them all at once. So we realize how crazy, bloodthirsty, and powerful this particular doll is. And in case you didn't know, all the organs of the real person who was cast as Miss Delight were transplanted into the doll, and so inside she still feels exactly the same needs as we do. Her hunger was so strong that she was willing to eat even her own children. And that's where the other question comes in. We have talked about the fact that she feels the same feelings as we do, and that means that all the time until she was mastered, she had to eat something. And on this basis, there is a theory that the part of children who were saved by her sisters were eaten after the rest of the dolls were finished. And after all this comes a new chapter in the life of our Miss Delight. One day she finds that the door that kept her locked up is open, which means it's time to go out. And as soon as she did, Catnap appeared before her eyes. Initially, Miss Delight was furious and wished only death to the cat for locking her up and forcing her to live through the horror that had happened to her. But after some time between Miss Delight and Catnap, there was a dialogue as a result of which our doll realized that it was not Catnap who locked her up. We all know that Catnap only acts in concert with the prototype, and it is this main villain of the whole Playtime coeus, and is responsible for everything that happened to Miss Delight. However, the doll realized that she couldn't handle them because their power is so much greater than hers. And she also learned that the prototype made a decision to choose the strongest sister among all the sisters and continue his work with her. The result of this meeting was the agreement that Miss Delight will be an ally of Catnap and the prototype and will report absolutely everything to them. And now let's talk about the acquaintance of our main character with Miss Delight. Remember the scene where we just broke into the orphanage school, and that's when Ollie told us that our dialogue with him is over because he won't be able to contact us because of the location. But just before the call went out, Ollie warned us that we were not alone in this room, and that it was unlikely that whoever was next to us was our friend. And then we first hear Miss Delight on the loudspeaker addressing all the students. It seems like she either doesn't understand what's going on because her mind has gone completely insane, or she's playing mind games with us. Almost immediately afterward, Miss Delight decided to talk to us. But what's most important in this situation is that she recognizes us, and she's very surprised that we're still alive. And she warns us to get out of here and stop looking for our missing colleagues because Catnap is not going to be happy about this. But actually, I think she's glad we're here because she thinks we're easy prey, which means Miss Delight might have new food. And she talks about this later, telling us that if we continue our search, she will come to meet us. However, we are not cowards and stay in this location, and as soon as we get to the generator, at this moment, Miss Delight appears in front of our eyes. And also here we get a confirmation of the theory that she is sure that if she will stand still when looking at her, she will appear dead and can easily kill us or anyone else. Perhaps she is afraid of light, or there are some other reasons for such aggressive behavior at the moment of switching on the backup energy generator. And the end of our story with her was her death. By pulling a lever, we were able to crush her body with a huge metal door. We also know that the prototype makes dead toys part of itself, and there is a possibility that Miss Delight's remains eventually became part of the prototype. Or the prototype took Miss Delight's dead body and decided to resurrect it, because no matter what anyone says, no one would want to lose such a powerful assistant. And we'll probably see her in the 4th chapter of Poppy Playtime. And remember, I promised to tell you a little bit about her smile. Since Miss Delight is a doll, the wounds on her body won't heal, which means they were caused by someone stronger than her or a group of characters. And I'm 90% sure that that Joker smile appeared on her face when she was fighting the other sister teachers. And that concludes our video. I hope you enjoyed it, and also don't forget about the feedback. Have a good game and see you soon.